What's good, everyone? It's your boy Santo G, back at it. You already know, spreading unity, prosperity, and respect. Above all, if you're new here, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell. It don't cost you nothing and it will help out this channel. So today, I wanted to do a reaction to the Dare Project. If you guys are around my age, 34, 35, you guys remember the Dare Project in elementary and middle school. For those of you youngsters, those of you people that they didn't have the Dare Project inside your schools, pretty much when we were young, it was a whole campaign. You had allegedly, right, the police would come to your school and teach you how to say no. What if I told you that all of that was a big lie and a whole manipulation to pretty much put the youth onto drugs? Because they did studies and it showed that that project, it didn't help. If anything, it just made the youth curious. They planted that seed. When they go and tell you, show you them videos of, oh, homegirl got on drugs, now she's pregnant, or homegirl smoked weed, now his life is over, right? To a young brain, you're telling me don't do this, don't do that. You know, you're going to start thinking. Your mind's going to start going. So you're going to be like, man, now I want to try it. You're telling me not to try it. Now I want to try it. I'm going to let you guys watch this video. And it's going to make you look at everything a whole different way. Since we've been little kids, they've been manipulating us. Just showing us what they want us to see. And if we've been lied to and there was a whole big agenda with something like this, it makes you think, right? What else has been going on under our noses without us even knowing? Let's get going. I'm going to let you guys watch the video and then I'll give you guys my reaction as we go through it. This is the Dare Project. And did it really help the youth? Or did it make the youth that much more worse? Let's get into it.
Remember Dare from school? Y'all remember Dare? A cop will come to your school, open up a briefcase of drugs, and try to scare kids away from drugs by sending cops into schools. You guys remember that? You remember how bad this program was?
This is the 2001 Board of Directors for the DARE program. Before I show you who's on it, I want you to ask yourself, who would you want running DARE? Maybe social scientists or educators. These people are going to wield the power of the police and shape how millions of children view drugs, crimes, and their own body. All right. Ready?
Let's go.
If you said 4 billionaires, 18 multimillionaires, their lawyers, 3 cops, one of whom is a convicted felon, 2 who are involved in corruption scandals, their friends, the NFL player who's at the center of RFK's assassination conspiracy theories, a boxer who reportedly uses steroids, 2 people on the Epstein list, and this guy who, after the FBI did an undercover sting, caught him trying to launder money to cover up a cocaine trafficking operation.
Wow.
If you said that.
You guys listen to that. The people in charge of the Dare Project, meaning the people that put that project together, they're all billionaires, they're lawyers, countless other people. You got Lee Baca under there. He's a sheriff that was high in the ranks and he ended up getting indicted for being dirty and corrupt. A lot of corrupt officials and a lot of billionaires, millionaires that necessarily don't need to be involved with a program like that. You're going into schools, you feel me? Let's keep going. Actually, let me rewind that.
Right.
So you could hear that.
Conspiracy theories. A boxer who reportedly uses steroids. 2 people on the Epstein list. And this guy.
2 people on the Epstein list.
After the FBI did an undercover sting, caught him trying to launder money to cover up a cocaine trafficking operation. If you said that,
Wow.
then you'd be right.
The DARE program it's nonsense. I mean, we can be honest about it.
By 1995, DARE, or Drug Abuse Resistance Education, was in 75% of all American school districts. They sent thousands of police officers into tens of thousands of elementary schools to teach 10-year-olds to say no to drugs. He was backed by presidents,
People like these DARE officers are making a real impression.
celebrities.
Little kids doing drugs.
It even got its own national holiday. 114 million Americans went through DARE.
That's
That's
crazy.
34% of the entire population.
What we were talking about are the consequences for using marijuana and not using marijuana.
I just want to shake some sense into you kids that are using drugs and think about using. So remember, don't.
And then we found out that it didn't work.
Cheers.
Cheers. A while back, Mia and I were talking about the DARE program.
Because genuinely, what the fuck?
Specifically,
Exactly.
how bad its failure was. Some studies, like this one, found that DARE students were more likely than non-DARE students
More
to
likely.
experiment with drugs.
Listen to that right there. More likely by the students, right? Getting put up on game. Pretty much by them telling you, don't do this, don't do that, showing you the presentation and all that. They're putting you onto it. It's crazy.
Whoops.
How did that happen?
And then Mia had a question.
Everyone knows about DARE. Everyone knows that it failed. But what I'm missing is, like, did they not test that it worked? Like, the people that made it?
For years, DARE has been laughed at.
Just say
Now! To crack!
Trendy, goofy teens wear their t-shirt around to mock its demise.
For
we all
real.
came up with our own theories as to why DARE didn't work. We kind of dismissed it as yet another failed government program. And we never properly investigated the private corporation,
That's
a
crazy.
nonprofit that often doesn't act like one, that somehow was able to get a dysfunctional drug program and police officers into your school and mine. This video was supposed to be a nostalgic explainer of America's biggest accident, but over the past 4 months, we've been combing through thousands of documents, interviewing cops, historians, journalists, and discovering
They went
that
deep
behind
with
this
it.
program
Salute to them.
is a buried story, using high-powered lawyers, attacking journalists and researchers when they tried to bring the truth to light. The people at DARE ruined careers to protect themselves. I want to show you all of this, because when you look at the people who were behind the program, you start to see what DARE was really all about.
Facts. When you get down to the bottom of everything, all them millionaires, billionaires that he's talking about are the same people that own the prisons. Same people that own the prisons, that own most of the major food you consume, the large brands and stuff like that. It goes deep. Let's keep going, man. I just wanted to take a break from the talking about people and all that, man. I wanted to shed light on something important, because I know I went through the DARE program, elementary, middle school, you know, getting the binders, people wanting to get the shirts, pencils, the erasers, all that. You feel me? They had a whole campaign behind it. But as a kid, I remember a certain fascination, right, to what they were saying, but we never thought about it like Is it good? Is it bad? Till now, when I seen this video, man. So I'm just like, man, you know what? Let's sit back. Let's enjoy. Let's keep going.
And the 12-year-old kids were like, okay, crack sounds fine.
For real.
Now I want drugs.
Clandestine meeting in the Mojave Desert, illegal guns being sent to the Contras by the CIA.
They did studies that showed that it's actually ineffective and in some cases actually harmful.
Let's go.
The story that's told is that Dare had good intentions, that they built a program that they thought would work, and it just didn't. However, I quickly learned there's a lot more to that story. After talking with Mia, I went out and picked up this book. It was written by a professor of history at Ball State University, and it's phenomenal. But there's one part that left me with way more questions than answers. So I reached out.
Okay. 1983.
In 1983, a group of researchers affiliated with USC just wrapped up a meeting with the Los Angeles School Board.
It's not like they didn't have drug prevention efforts going on. The LA Unified School District actually had been piloting a program called Project SMART.
The researchers in charge of Project SMART were leaving a school board meeting when a man approaches them.
Actually approached the Project SMART researchers.
His name was Daryl Gates.
And Gates is kind of like, well, what if we can take the Project SMART and just have the police teach it?
Having serious objections to police involvement, they said no. But according to one of Gates's right-hand men,
If you told Gates that he was wrong, he would crush you.
Crazy.
Do
Crazy work.
You mean? What do you mean by that?
What do you mean,
'Cause
for real?
114 million kids went through this program. So what do you mean he'll crush you? What do you mean by that?
This idea of like, if only they had known, does not apply.
They fucking knew? Did they know?
So,
How
the
deep
SMART
does it go?
researchers agreed to share their findings. They had been testing two different approaches. One of them they found didn't work.
And they said, we found this affective component wasn't working. We've dropped it. We don't use that anymore because we found that it was not having the right effects.
these researchers had found that it made kids more likely to do drugs
Before
Wow.
before launch. And that's what they told
So before it launched, they said that exposing the kids to that information, they're more likely to use drugs. They knew this before that program even launched. Wow.
The other side of it, what they called peer resistance training, was more effective. What ends up happening, there's no real documentation of why this occurred, is that they kept the affective education component in.
So the part that they knew didn't work.
Dare kept that piece in.
Wow.
From that, is this just a PR stunt, or do you think there might be other stuff going on behind the scenes?
Well, with Gates, there's always other stuff going on.
This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Max's book is a phenomenal breakdown of Dare's expansion, its impacts on culture, policing, the nuances of the hundreds of studies that went into Dare. But I want to show you a completely different angle.
Yeah. All right. That's right. Oh, don't.
Okay, so I talked to this guy. He's a former cop.
Okay.
And he was there. Like, he worked directly under the founder of Dare when and where it was created.
Okay.
And I think the problem is that we all just kind of assumed that Dare's failure was a big mistake. Let me just show you what he said.
Why are we doing this program? And because that's internally, that's what most people thought. So why are we doing this?
Wait, tell me more about that.
They just thought it was a ridiculous idea. Most people within the departments, everybody said it's not going to work.
For real. Wow.
What? Okay. Marijuana. Oh, I mean, yeah.
When one of the SMART researchers learned that Dare was using the effective approach, he reached out to try to help fix it. But Dare was never interested, speculating that Dare had other motives. Dare didn't need fixing. What it needed was money and friends in high places. Though not technically true, the point still stands. Another smart researcher put it bluntly. Dare had never talked to a scientist until it got into some trouble in 1993. When Dare was already in 52% of school districts, making the question, if their goal wasn't efficacy, what was it?
For real.
It is truly my great pleasure to welcome Dare to NASDAQ.
It's June 4th, 1968. A 15-year-old boy walks into the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles. He's there on an assignment for his high school newspaper. U.S. Senator Robert F. Kennedy is in town, and he's giving a speech at the hotel. The boy's assignment is to take photos of it.
Thanks to all of you, and now it's on to Chicago, and let's win there.
Following the speech, the 15-year-old is following the senator around, snapping photos, when
Senator Kennedy has been shot. He's been shot? That's right.
a former NFL player named Rosie Greer subdued Sirhan Sirhan, who we now know as the assassin of Robert Kennedy. Realizing that Kennedy had just been shot, the high school photographer starts taking photos of everything he can. Then, the LAPD appears. The boy is detained. All his photos, 3 entire rolls of film, are taken from him. 2 months later, the LAPD secretly burns 2,410 photos taken during the investigation.
Wow.
In time, they also destroy ceiling panels with bullet holes in them, x-rays of those ceiling panels, and spectrographic analyses of the bullets. Why would you do that?
Why would you delete the evidence?
It's all quite suspicious. During this time, a young officer at the LAPD is climbing the ranks. His name is Daryl Gates, and he was just in charge of the intelligence division, but got a promotion to be assistant chief.
He was a narcissist, and his ego was beyond belief.
Gates is about to build an infamous reputation.
A man who Pulitzer Prize winning journalists have called egomaniacal and paranoid. He is responsible for the creation of the SWAT team.
Oh.
Wow.
And commits a move that will change policing forever. A brutal, unprovoked raid on the Black Panthers.
Wow.
Meanwhile, the intelligence division that Gates oversaw breaks off into 2 different categories. The Organized Crime Intelligence Division, or OCID, and the Public Disorder Intelligence Division, or PDID. Almost immediately, the PDID neglects its mission to serve public disorder and focuses on the real enemy. Building dossiers on journalists, labor unions, civil rights groups, public servants, anti-war activists, and the mayor. Of course.
This paranoia that the LAPD had under Daryl Gates extended way beyond the city of LA. He had officers undercover all around the world.
I know this guy sounds like a conspiracy theorist, but he's actually a Pulitzer Prize winning investigative journalist. Check yourself.
Part of what you were revealing, he had like hundreds of people, right?
He had, we don't know how many he had.
We're not talking FBI. This is
No.
LAPD. Local municipal police force, hundreds of agents undercover, and some of them international.
Hundreds of agents in the unit that supervised the undercover officers.
Soon, the PDID starts to get in trouble. They got caught running covert intelligence missions by sending undercover officers into schools, not to investigate a crime, but instead to build political dossiers, signifying that the LAPD and Daryl Gates are becoming increasingly obsessed with power. And it's working. Legions of police officers are starting to look towards Daryl Gates for their next move.
Wow. That's crazy.
I think Grandma was baking cookies.
That's
She really
crazy.
liked the batter.
I know it's starting off slow, but it's gonna tie in right now. I'm pretty sure that same person is probably gonna be the one in charge of the Dare project or something. It said he was using LAPD officers to spy on people, pretty much.
Watergate. The White House called it a third-rate burglary, but it escalated into the worst political scandal in American history.
I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
In the wake of the Watergate scandal, America started to wake up. The government wasn't just watching its enemies anymore. It was watching everyone. The FBI ran COINTELPRO, and the CIA was doing the same through Operation MH Chaos. Local, state, and federal agencies all got in on it. So cities, states, Congress started pushing back, passing laws like this one. These laws say if you're spying on someone, if there's no crime committed, you have to delete the file. Around this same time, they expanded the Freedom of Information Act. And this guy, a congressman from New York, wants answers. He wants to know what really happened to Robert F. Kennedy.
Okay.
So he looks at LA and starts asking questions. A memo makes its way up the chain of command to Daryl Gates, responding point by point to the representative's questions. A key photograph taken during the investigation of the assassination was kept secret by Los Angeles police, who feared it might contradict official statements. The existence of this photograph is believed to be unknown by anyone outside of this department, and that the LAPD deliberately kept this a secret. Soon after, the California Supreme Court comes down on the LAPD, saying, you can't send undercover cops into schools if there's no crime. You can't do this. Then, the LA Board of Police Commissioners orders Daryl Gates' precious PDID to destroy 1.9 million dossiers. The world that Gates built of power, secrecy, and surveillance is officially under threat. Gates' chief gets summoned to DC. The Senate Intelligence Committee wants names. Everyone that's spying for the LAPD. The chief waged a war. His response was a clear declaration that the LAPD was going rogue. It will be a cold day in hell when I provide you with the information you've requested.
Wow.
Back in LA, one of the PDID spies gets a quiet order. We're not going to destroy the records. We want you to hide them. 3 years later, Daryl Gates is promoted to chief, inheriting total control of a rogue, loyal, militarized force with an elite spy network. Daryl Gates is then blessed with a gift directly from the CIA gods themselves. These new laws didn't say that spying was illegal. They just said that if no crime was committed, you shall maintain no record. Representative Larry McDonald, chair of the right-wing advocacy group known for its conspiracy theories, teams up with his buddies to create the Western Goals Foundation, a domestic intelligence agency.
Those guys came up with the idea of setting up this company to do what the FBI couldn't do.
Wow.
There is one thing that these new laws cannot regulate. Of course, private businesses.
Wow.
The LAPD funnels its hidden records to the ultra-conservative mini deep state.
He got the files from PDID.
And ramps up.
200 groups.
So, pretty much, they told him that he couldn't use the LAPD for what he was doing for spying on people, keeping tabs and all that. So, what he did is he created a private investigation group, or he created his own company and was doing it under the guise of private investigating type. That's what I'm getting from this.
Were infiltrated over the course of a couple of years.
Spies are sent to the city council, journalists, academics, the ACLU, celebrities, LGBTQ activists, labor unions, and the political left.
And those were being provided to Western Goals.
We were told at one time that there were no undercover agents in this chamber, that in fact there was an undercover agent. You've had officers infiltrating peaceful organizations, law-abiding organizations, infiltrating this council chamber, reporting on what councilmen have said, reporting on roll calls of councilmen, and you're telling me that you're proud of the efforts that have been made?
You seem to know a great deal for a statement that says you don't know anything. Now, what is it? Do you know everything, or you don't know everything?
Yes.
That's his comeback.
We'd come to work, and there'd be a helicopter over our building. right? They'd be monitoring us, coming and going and everything. And, we'd stand there like going like this at the helicopter.
Journalist Dave Lindorf was a target for the PDID.
The helicopter would follow me at night. One time they followed me all the way home. They were shining their light on me.
Dave and 143 others sue Daryl Gates.
That's how bad it got. That's how much the LAPD at that time, the head, wanted to control the narrative that gets pushed out there by journalists, by politicians. Even the mayor, he said he had keeping tabs on them. Like every political party, every meeting. That's pretty much what they're saying.
ACLU, things get hot. Gates strikes back, winning a totally separate case against the ACLU. Undercover cops can operate in schools as long as they're targeting drug dealers. The ACLU plans to appeal. All they have to do is prove one thing: that Gates will abuse that power. So the ACLU focuses their attention on the PDID case. The city attorney representing Gates opens an unlocked file cabinet. He runs to the press, calling PDID a clandestine band of zealots who abuse every single moral and ethical precept. The judge says they're going to order the police to release the files. But before they do, the news breaks. Gates has been funneling intelligence to Western goals. It's fully public. People are seeing this, they're hearing this. It is a huge deal. This is not good for Gates.
They weren't overly concerned until the ACLU got into PDID.
The ACLU starts closing in.
We started, it's called a purge, destroying tens of thousands of documents. We had 2 commercial shredders. We burned 2 of them up. They knew they were going to lose this lawsuit.
Gates runs to the school board.
Wow, he starts trading everything.
Drug education, taught by police, not for one class, but have them stay there.
When it came to spying, he had no rules.
School district is like, you are nuts. A program cannot be developed overnight. Gates approaches smart researchers, saying, use my cops for your program. They say,
so pretty much, right? They told him that he couldn't have undercover spies at schools and stuff like that. Around that same time is when they start trying to make a program to see if you telling kids not to do drugs is good. They said that wasn't good. It's better if you just don't talk about it at all, right? That's what they're saying. So now let's see what he approaches them with and what he has to say. It's getting good.
They would send their files on leftist groups to Western Goals, and then Western Goals would make them accessible to the FBI.
Western Goals gets added as a defendant right as soon as they entered the Iran-Contra funding network by funding rebels in Nicaragua with the CIA. The founder of Western Goals gets on a plane to South Korea. Soviet fighters approach, shoot the plane down. He dies. The ACLU goes on the offense. The CIA notices that all of this is happening. LAPD, MH Chaos type activities, ACLU legal action. The CIA sends 2 agents to LA, and Gates sends 10 cops to 50 elementary schools. The official launch of DARE.
Wow.
That's when the city settled.
Sometimes the best answer is the simplest one. You have the power. Just say no to drugs.
Years passed by, DARE slowly grew, but there was one problem: money. Police can't take money from any person who's engaged in business for gain. But if those same officers go out and start a private nonprofit, then now it's not the LAPD asking, it's a private charity. Then that private nonprofit can take the money and pass it off to the police department. Totally passes the sniff test. Like, it's totally above board. Super happy that things work this way. God. Today, this is actually totally normal. They're called police foundations. If you've never heard of it, according to policefoundations.org, That's the point. These police foundations can't legally imply that any donor will be able to influence official actions or get anything in return. But there's low transparency. Critics call these dark money slush funds. The LAPD creates one called the CPAC, which turns into Dare California, and then, in turn, Dare America. They throw some fundraisers, inviting who critics would call dark money. They throw this fundraiser gala for Dare. The dinner chair of the gala, which, like, whatever, I don't fucking know what that means, is a luxury goods and jewelry mogul. And he lands a seat on Dare America's board of directors.
Wow.
A banker shows up, a developer shows up, they make the board too, an attorney attends, her son is suddenly on the board. The whole event, netting Dare more than $760,000, is paid for by a banker and Michael Milken, the man who would later get indicted for stock manipulation, insider trading, tax evasion, and become known as the junk bond king. Michael Milken, friend of Dare, I guess. That's
crazy.
How did that happen? How do they know each other?
That's like Pablo Escobar himself donating to the Dare Project. Like, hell yeah, get these kids not to use drugs, knowing damn well he's advertising. That's advertising at its finest. That's the way all these people looked at it. You're putting all these people up on game, all these kids up on game. It's crazy. Let's keep going.
This is a duck. You can tell because it walks like one and it talks like one. In all my life, I've learned that if something says that it's one thing, but then it acts a different way, you should ask questions. A good one to start with is, how is it walking and how is it talking? Is it talking? Dare's first year was a trial run. Year 2, oops, cop shoots a revolver in a classroom. Year 3, though, something different happens.
Oh, kids turning in their parents for drugs.
Wow.
Even though Dare is still small, 6 kids turn their parents in a 3-month period. From the early days, Dare has to come up with this policy, telling their officers, you're not here to gather intelligence. You're here as a teacher. Dare's training documents are bathed in this language. Gain their trust. Gain their trust. And God forbid if a child does confide in you, just like coincidentally, not because you gain their trust or anything, get another officer and let them take care of it. We can't have you losing the kid's trust, because I guess that's important for drug education.
Perhaps unintended consequences, perhaps intended.
Intended or unintended?
What you got? The Dare video.
The new Dare elementary curriculum challenges students by having them participate in active learning. The officer guides and directs students' progress and their understanding.
I'm going to ask for a student to help me by decorating the Dare box. And that'll be a place for all of you to drop questions in. But also that might be a place where you may want to tell me something in confidentiality. And if you do, make sure that you make note of it in that box, please.
Wow.
That's in there, or that you don't want anyone to hear it, that you want it to be private. When I mention the term confidentiality, what that means is it's something between you and I. It's private.
If a literal confession box isn't damning, I don't know what is. Would you say that it's in line with what you know about Daryl Gates to start?
Wow.
That inspired
So pretty much, not only did he have the Huras in there spying and seeing what was going on, but now you're trying to turn the kids into your own spies. That is slow.
His informants.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have no doubt that it occurred to him that this is a possibility.
As Dare grew, this became a huge problem. More and more kids started turning their parents in. Parents compared Dare to the late Weimar Republic. If Dare was good at one thing, it was not drug education. It was, as Wikipedia says, using children as informants.
The idea that
Wow.
you're going to use
Using
kids
children as
on their
informants.
parents, the bottom of the barrel. If they use that to lock the dad up, the kid's going to find out about it someday that it was because of what they did, and they're going to live with that guilt.
Damn. Crazy. Crazy right there, man. I'm gonna just watch a little bit more of this video, and then if you guys want to watch it, I'm gonna put in the description. I'm gonna tag the video right there, so that way you guys can go watch it. But from everything you're hearing so far, it makes you think about everything, right? That you've been taught as a kid. Like, how long have we been getting manipulated?
Year independent study into DARE is commissioned by the Department of Justice, the same branch that funds DARE. Over the years, the DOJ approves of the independent agency's approach. Receiving feedback and notes, everything looks good. But when the study was ready and the findings were that DARE didn't work, the Department of Justice refused to publish it.
What?
Totally confused, the researchers go to
The
American Journal
DOJ.
of Public Health, one of the most respected academic journals in its field. This study received exceptionally good peer reviews. So the American Journal of Public Health goes to publish it. When the phone rings, it's DARE. They said that DARE tried to intimidate them, to interfere, and prevent the public from knowing that DARE doesn't work.
Wow.
When a major television network was working on a story about DARE, the producer said they worked very hard to get our story suppressed. When a reporter questioned the effectiveness of the program in USA Today, he received letters from classrooms all over the country, coordinated. They were all addressed, "Dear DARE Basher." DARE didn't stumble into its failure. It protected it.
That's
But
crazy.
to DARE, it doesn't matter because the money starts flowing.
My fellow Americans, this war is not yet won.
Reagan accelerates the war on drugs,
and our nation is united against this scourge as never before.
The First Lady attends DARE fundraisers. Walt Disney's
Wow.
daughter gives an extraordinarily generous donation, landing a spot on the board of directors.
And that presidency is the most criticized presidency when they say, homeboy said he was casting a war on drugs, but yet behind closed doors they were doing the exact opposite. Crazy how they're even connected to the DARE project. Let's go.
The federal government says it'll pass a bill to fund anti-drug programs. Gates perks up and says, success is when DARE is in every classroom across America. DARE sends a lobbyist to DC. That bill then gets amended, specifically putting money aside for programs that are taught by uniformed law enforcement officials. DARE uses government money to create regional training centers and develops a decentralized business model. Board of directors, executives, employees, training centers, then the cops. But if they hire cops, they're no longer cops. So they help police departments set up private nonprofits themselves, dedicating much of the officers' training to teaching them how to raise money. They then coach those officers to expand their program and bring on more officers, creating a really unique triangle shape.
Why does it kind of sound like a multi-level marketing scheme?
For
At
real.
the time, Herbalife and MLM was the fastest growing company in America. Perhaps DARE took some inspiration, but I don't know. It's not like Herbalife's founder and executive vice president was on the board of directors.
Wow. Wow.
They even donated $36,000 to DARE, specifically designated for rent. They start taking donations from corporations. A famous one is KFC, right there. Look at that, the logo. It doesn't say DARE.
So they're saying that at that point in time, every company that aligned themselves with the DARE project, that donated to the DARE project and all that, just skyrocketed.
DARE America.
You know, know, if I were to have gone back to write this book again, you know, now, like trying to figure out, go into like corporate archives to find out like why are they all sponsoring Dare?
Where would be a good place to find those that are potentially getting kickbacks? Officially, there's no kickbacks from these donors. There can't be. But in late 1989, Deputy Chief Glenn Levant, who helped run the DARE program at LAPD, ordered his elite detectives to spend 2 days scouting out a hotel outside of city limits. They were there to catch a thief, which is odd because they were outside of city limits. They're outside.
They're not even. They only had jurisdiction.
Should not have been.
Facts.
It was revealed that the owner of the hotel was involved with the DARE program board, meaning the police were doing odd things that they usually would not be doing, things that benefited members of DARE's board.
Wow.
To the case that shocked the world, and now it has exploded into a city out of control.
A few years later, several police officers were caught on camera in a racially charged attack, beating a man named Rodney King.
Terrible situation all night long.
And LA burned.
Fires, moving, gunshots, and now the National Guard may be ready to move in.
Gates was forced to resign. Levant shot up. His ambition kicked in. It was his time to be chief. But he didn't get the job. He left the force. The man who sent cops outside of city limits and reportedly ran the PDID's vastly more powerful sibling.
We were a mini CIA for the chief of police, and we worked some joint operations with the CIA.
Glenn Levant would leave the Los Angeles Police Department to take over DARE America.
Wow.
This is a timeline showing DARE's board of directors over time. With an alleged reputation of giving kickbacks to those that are affiliated with DARE's board, these are the people that Glenn Levant and DARE America reported to. You have billionaires and millionaires, high-powered lawyers, government officials or people with connections, high-powered police and their friends, media personalities, and some old friends. The football player that subdued RFK's killer, Bill Clinton's close confidant, a former congressman who was disgraced by financial crimes, who was assisted in those crimes by DARE's friend, the junk bond king, founders and CEOs of Hollywood's largest studios and developers, Michael Jackson, an infomercial king who will soon launder cocaine money, the lawyer who defended the city of LA in a lawsuit filed by the 15-year-old boy whose photos of RFK's assassination were stolen from him. But soon, trouble hits.
The largest criminal action against a Wall Street figure ever. Federal prosecutors indicted one of the richest and best-known Wall Street figures in America. His name was Michael Milken. Do you remember the movie
Michael
Wall
Milken.
Street? Michael Douglas,
The Wolf of Wall Street.
Greed is Good. That was based on Michael Milken.
Don't tell me he's on the board.
Michael Milken is indicted in a federal grand jury for financial crimes. Many of the board's most powerful members directly benefited from his financing. Like this guy, billionaire Ron Burkle, connected to Harvey Weinstein, business partners with Sean Diddy Combs, close friends and donor to Bill Clinton, and his name appears on a list, officially made by a man who never had any clients. According to the data available to us, Ron Burkle is the longest running director on the board at DARE.
Wow.
The junk bond king is sentenced to 10 years in prison. He only served 22 months, and then the junk bond king was released. But he had to do a lot of community service hours, which he went to DARE for. You can see him here talking to board member Michael Jackson at a gala. And as DARE starts to fail, the board will also fall apart.
That's crazy.
Michael Jackson goes to criminal trial. Michael Ovitz gets fired from his executive role at Disney. DARE has a tense meeting with Congress and subsequently loses access to federal funding. Herbalife's founder suddenly dies. Close friends Michael Ovitz and Ron Burkle have a falling out. And several members on the board have either hired or are somehow connected to a private investigator named Anthony Pellicano. They call him the
That is crazy.
The felon was hired.
I'm gonna end it off there, man. I don't want homeboy to think I just hijacked his whole video, but I just wanted to show you guys how deep it goes. When you look at all the people that own all these record companies, right? All these people that own the prisons. I guarantee you, you're going to see a lot of familiar names, a lot of schemes like this. So it just goes to show you, man, it's cool to be, it's cool, right? I know sometimes boredom, we get caught up in what he said, she said, and what this person said, that person said, right? But sometimes we need to sit back and analyze everything around you and just see things for what they are. Because while we're too busy over here caught up fighting each other and dealing with the propaganda they're showing us, we're not even thinking about what they're not showing us and the big agenda at hand. A lot of times they attack us like this. This was an attack on us since we was kids. Since we was kids. Say no to drugs so then we could get caught up in drugs. Next thing you know, we in prison. We're caught up in this cycle going back and forth, coming in and out. Fucked up our whole lives, you feel me? And they knew what they was doing. They suppressed it. They fought it. Man, it's just sickening. Just crazy. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, though. It's your boy Santo G. Real raw and uncut. Just wanted to put y'all up on game on something that really does matter. And it already happened. We can't change the past. But, like I always say, we can't determine our future, man. And that's a fact. Let's get it.